Hello everyone, Mike here. So I just wanted to quickly show you the orchard. This has been planted now for about 2 years. Unfortunately, when we planted them, we didn't realise that they were dwarf rootstock. It wasn't actually until we went to buy more from the same place that we realised they were dwarf rootstock. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. Basically, we've just planted them too far apart. But what we'll do eventually is sort of fill these gaps in between each plant with more dwarf rootstock plants. Now, pretty much all of them have fruit on. It's only these end two. There's a pear and a cherry. They were labelled, and oh no, they still are. But the sun has bleached them. But I do have record, luckily, of what's what. But it wouldn't matter if I didn't, because I just wait for them to fruit and see what they are. But I've got a rough map of everything and what it is, just in case that happened. So these are the sort of outside two. The rest of them are all apples, but I can see what's happening here is the rootstock, because they're all grafted, obviously the rootstock is faster growing, and so what's happened is the rootstock, I suppose if I remove this it will be connected, yeah. So what's happened is the roots have sent out a shoot, because obviously the stem goes to about here, and it's sent out a shoot, which is now growing these. But that's not a bad thing, because what I can do at the appropriate time of year, I will have to research because I don't know off the top of my head, but I can then take 1, 2, 3 cuttings and then potentially split all of these up into smaller cuttings again, and then I'll have the rootstock of this, and then I could potentially graft my own of this eventually. So that's not a bad thing that's done that. Now as for the rest, they're all doing very well. A lot of new growth. Well, as you can see, this is all this year's growth here, so they're doing really well and they're really happy, which is always a good sign when there's lots of new growth, because the new growth is healthy. The camera will focus. The new growth is healthy, which means the plant is healthy and the plant is happy. So I'm very pleased with how this one's coming along. This is probably one of the taller ones. But I think my remaining 5 plants that I have here all have fruit. So I'm going to have to stake this one, because the bamboo wasn't quite enough to hold it, and what's happened is the weight of the fruit has slowly pulled it over. So that's an easy fix, but if I'm not careful, I don't leave it, it will just snap, which would be a shame. But yeah, that one's got quite a lot of fruit, and I believe all of the others have 1 or 2 apples as well. I think that's probably got the most. There's a couple of apples here growing. I need to research each variety, because it's so long ago I can't remember what they were recommended to do, so whether they're good for eating raw or cooking or whatever. So I will have to research them just to find out, so I use the apples in the best way. This one doesn't have any, I don't think. That's alright, it doesn't matter. I wasn't expecting to get any crop from them for quite a while, because again I didn't realise they were dwarf rootstock. This one's got quite a lot of apples as well, but again with this one I'm going to have to stake it, because this bamboo isn't quite cutting it, and it is sort of leaning to one side. Yeah, these are coming along really nicely. I just got to watch them now and make sure wasps and flies and things like that don't come after them. And this particular branch is doing very well. There's loads of apples on it, and all decent size, so they're doing well. And the last one over here, this is the tallest one. I don't think this is fruiting, but to be honest, oh no, it is fruiting, just not quite heavy. One there, I think this is a Bramley, off the top of my head, but I can't quite remember. But I think I put the cooking apples on this end, and I'm pretty sure this is a Bramley, but I may be wrong about that. Some more, but even this one it's got this curling of the leaf, which I need to research. But the most recent growth again is looking happy, so I'm not too worried about that. And it does seem to only be on this one branch. But my plan with these is potentially just to use them for cutting stock once they get to my desired height, which is probably where they are now, really, considering their dwarf rootstock. Maybe a little bit higher, because I can always stand in the back of the gator and harvest them. But I don't want it to go much higher than this, and they won't go much higher than this either. But if they go too high, then it becomes awkward to harvest them, and so I might, in sort of autumn, come off and just maybe take a little bit off the top just to help it bush out a bit, and then next year let it grow another foot or so and leave it at that, just so it's nice and manageable, and possibly do the same with all of them just to help them bush out a little bit so that they don't become too top heavy. Now let me know what you think, whether I should remove some of these apples so that the plant doesn't exhaust itself. I know it's a little bit late now, but it is still flowering here at the bottom, so you know I could potentially still help it to a degree. But I have heard of plants sort of exhausting themselves when they fruit too early or fruit too heavily for the size of the plant. So let me know if you think I should take a few off of any of them. But yeah, this is the orchard. I've never really shown it before. I've mentioned it, I think, but not actually shown it. And here's my main laurel cutting stock, if you can see it. Sorry, the sun is at that awkward height now. But yeah, this is my main laurel cutting stock, growing away nicely. Lots of dung gets put on these from the stables, so they, well, you can tell the ones that get the dung and the ones that don't, because these have really grown away. And then what I do is sort of November time, for me, is the sweet spot in my area. I come along and I completely obliterate these and take most of the plant down to about chest height. And I plant that up, and then it bushes out in no time, because laurel grows like mad. And the plant doesn't really mind it. It does it good, you know, it keeps it under control. You can see the one that I didn't get last year, because it is a bit higher than the others. But I expect that was because I probably already had enough laurel by that point. As even these ones produce quite well, because they're that little bit smaller. You get some really nice shoots like this. This will be a very good cutting actually come November, and these as well. And then as you start to go lower, they're not quite so good. So the newer growth is always better. So like that larger one come November, it won't have so many quality cuttings on it, as they'll be higher up and they'll be harder to get. But again, I can stand in the back of the gator and get quite a few, but these smaller ones tend to do a nicer cutting. But again, I find for me, November is the sweet spot. I could try them now and I'll get a few that will root, but nowhere near the success rate. So yeah, anyway, this is the orchard. I thought I'd better put a video up because it's been a while again. I've just been busy on grass. So I am still here, and I will be back uploading more videos. I've got quite a lot recorded, but I just haven't had the time to put them up. So thank you for watching, and let me know what I should do with the heavier fruiting apples. See you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.